Good morning. I am up, showered, and dressed and making my bed instead of starting this day 25 video, day 25 of my 30-day health challenge. Instead of starting the video in bed or in the backyard in California, whatever I've done. Today holds a few extra things that aren't normally on the schedule, but I suppose that's like many days for many of us. They're not all the same kind of day. So I did take my stats when I got up this morning. I had a waking fasting glucose of 90, which I think was the same glucose I had yesterday morning, and still waiting on those better morning fasting glucose numbers. But I guess as long as I'm continuing to drop weight, that means that the body is just releasing glucose, stored glycogen, turning it back into glucose. And maybe that's why I have the morning fasting glucose of 90. So my blood pressure is looking really good. I know I don't share that with you every day. This morning it was 114/64, so that was a nice blood pressure. I have read that if you just lose 10 pounds, you improve your blood pressure reading, so that makes me happy. Okay, bed is made and I need to get laundry started. Time to sort some laundry. Just 2 bins, colors and whites. Anyway, this is about health. So on my health front this morning, I got on the bathroom scale and I was down 2/10 of a pound. So from 137.6 to 137.4. And on the app, on the data-driven fasting app that rounds, that means that now it looks like I went from 138 to 137. I need to check the app and see if my trigger has dropped another point or not. Right now, well, before I check, yesterday, before it adjusts, it read 80. Personal hunger trigger of 80. I did not get down to that personal hunger trigger yesterday before I went ahead and had my breakfast on our drive to the church and then lunch out. I think I measured my glucose between breakfast and lunch out and I was at 104, but I still had the lunch out. I knew that I would be able to try to pull back on energy sources of fats or carbs, which I did accomplish for the most part. And then I knew that I would be cutting off my eating after the lunch. So these fasting times where I'm having my meals, cutting off eating earlier in the day rather than later in the day, I'm giving myself an advantage by fitting my eating in with my circadian rhythm. There's information in the description box about the circadian rhythm and early time restricted eating. Now it's time to get these darks into the washing machine. I love it. The bed is made, I'm showered and dressed, the washing machine's running, and the dishwasher's running. Now I'm going to look and see if I can find that article that I read about just losing 10 pounds, how it will improve blood pressure. And we want our blood pressure to be at a healthy rate because basically we don't want to be stressing our vessel walls by having too much pressure on them. That's not healthy. I found it. I shared the article with my husband because we had a little episode at the hospital and he was beginning to watch his blood pressure. So back on June 9th, I wrote to him, my yellow ribbon still fits, but not with the same overlap I had in the photo. I'll put that yellow ribbon photo in this video so you can see what I'm referring to. And then I said to him, you now have your very own yellow ribbon. We'll both tie a yellow ribbon. And then I started to quote the article, which I will link the article in the description box of this video. And it says, being overweight or obese increases your risk of developing high blood pressure. In fact, your blood pressure rises as your body weight increases. Losing even 10 pounds can lower your blood pressure. And losing weight has the biggest effect on those who are overweight and already have hypertension. Overweight and obesity are also risk factors for heart disease. And being overweight or obese increases your chances of developing high blood cholesterol and diabetes, 2 more risk factors for heart disease. 2 key measures are used to determine if someone is overweight or obese. These are body mass index, that's the BMI that I talked about in yesterday's video. I think that was in yesterday's video. I'll put up a BMI chart and a link to where I found that. So the 2 indicators are body mass index or waist circumference. So that's the waist to height ratio that I talked about in yesterday's video, and I'll have links in this description box. Then I said to him, this I'm writing to my husband again, I intend to see my blood pressure numbers back in the 110s again where I used to be. My ribbon still fits, but this morning and that was June 9th, I'm 10 pounds above wedding weight, 146, and I want to be 136. And my blood pressure is tracking with the higher weight. I will work on that situation. Back to wedding weight, back to better blood pressure numbers. See, after I figured out how to use my glucose meter as a fuel gauge, I got down to wedding weight, and I even went below wedding weight because I was playing around with mastering diabetes, but I didn't realize that I was also shortchanging myself on protein because I just wasn't paying attention to the importance of protein making me food satisfied. And the fancy word is satiety. And so then I started eating larger and larger quantities of food, having a great time with it. And now with hindsight, I can see that those larger quantities of food I was trying to meet, my body was asking for its needs to be met in terms of protein as well as nutrients. I think I was getting plenty of nutrients, but not enough protein. And so in the last 2 years, I had a lot of fun with food and with huge meals, and I still intend to eat huge meals here and there. But in the last 6 months, I decided that I was going to start paying more attention to protein, and then I've done 2 challenges with the data-driven fasting group. This one that I'm recording for you, these 30 days, I've been the most serious about paying attention to the levers that I can pull of having enough protein, choosing fats or carbs, or pulling back on both of those energy sources, and making sure I get enough nutrients. I think today's focus, I do need to apply myself more to nutrients, and so I got to figure that out, along with I do want I still want to eat the fruit that I've got in the refrigerator. I don't want it to go to waste. I don't like wasting food. So there are some of my food thoughts, but it is wonderful to know that using my glucose meter as a fuel gauge, I have the power to move the scale up or down, and it also affects all my other biometrics. As you see on the app, the biometrics are weight, blood pressure, body fat percentage, glucose. I know ketones, both blood and breath ketones, are in that scrolling list. I'm trying to think what else is on that list. Let me look. Waist measurement is a biometric, and that's kind of what I'm accomplishing with my yellow ribbon. I don't actually take a measurement, but I try to stay within the parameters of having that yellow ribbon, which represents my overall height. Try to make sure that when folded in half, I can wrap that yellow ribbon around me and the ends not only touch, but I like my ends to overlap. And again, the picture will be here in the video for you to see what I'm talking about. I'm working up a special treat for my husband. He asked if I would make him some roasted tomatoes with feta cheese. It's kind of like a dip that I mix up. So it's very, very simple. I just cut up cherry tomatoes. You could use whole, regular sized tomatoes if you want, but I like to use the small cherry or grape tomatoes. These are grape tomatoes. And then I will after I've started to roast these tomatoes in the air fryer, which is behind the camera over there, after I've got kind of a bake singe on them a little bit, then I'll put the feta unwrapped in the middle of the pan and let that roast a little bit more. And the only seasoning I use on it is dried oregano. Plenty of dried oregano. So it's kind of a Greek dip thing. I don't add any fats to this. My daughter in California was the one that introduced me to this dish, and I'm pretty sure she used olive oil in it, or some kind of oil. Oh, I just remembered something I do want to add to it. I will add roasted garlic cloves. I buy bags of peeled garlic at Trader Joe's or wherever I find them, and then I put them in a little smallish baking dish on low heat, maybe 275, and roast them until they're soft. And then I use the roasted garlic in all kinds of recipes. I find the roasted garlic is softer. It doesn't have that, I don't know, not burn taste, but harsher taste. Now sometimes fresh garlic is a must, but in most of my dishes I tend to use the roasted cloves. So what I'll do here is I'll just put, this is probably 8 or so cloves in there. I'll mix that in, maybe a little more, 9 or 10. Okay. And that will be part of the roasting too. So they will add a nice flavor to this dish. My husband has to come home in the middle of the day today because of one of the extra things we're dealing with in life, and I'm trying to get this done while it's still morning, get this roasted so that he can have it as part of his lunch. He too is trying to eat the majority of his food earlier in the day and then stop so that he doesn't go to bed at night with a full stomach, still digesting and working on that process, on his metabolism. I put a definition of metabolism in the description box, something that I kind of compiled together through being in some science classes these past couple of years at the local community college. I took biology, Anatomy Physiology 1, Anatomy Physiology 2, and this coming fall, I will be taking microbiology. I'm slowly, ever so slowly, working my way towards a bachelor's degree. I thought it was going to be a bachelor's of nursing. Before that, I thought it was going to be a bachelor's in neuroscience. I don't know yet what it will be because COVID and things have changed a lot of the way our society works right now, and I've hit a hiccup in the nursing degree plan. I'm not sure whether I will get to go forward with that or not, whether I'm willing to submit to some requirements. I don't think I am. Thankfully, I don't have to make that decision today. I'll just keep moving ahead with my plans for taking microbiology in the fall, and I could stall another year by taking chemistry in the spring semester and then nutrition in the next fall semester, so we'll see. All right, so this is set at 400 for 30 minutes. Maybe I'll dial it down to 20 and so I can check it. And then we'll see how the tomatoes look. So there that's started now. I'm getting some slight hunger signals. So with data-driven fasting, when you get hungry, you test. I'm gonna go ahead and test and show you that on camera and see what my glucose is at. And regardless of what it's at, I need to start making a meal plan, start figuring what I want to eat when it is time to break my fast. So here we go to measure my glucose. All right, get the meter test strips out with the meter kit. So what I hold in my hand, this whole thing is the meter kit. Test strips, lancing device, meter is actually here. So I'll pull up the meter. They replaced my meter. Dario sent me a replacement because this hinge here, down here, had sprung. So when I clicked it back in, it wasn't flush. Anyway, there's the, pop out the meter, put that in to the phone, and allow Dario to read, do its thing. And I will stick a new test strip in, and I will use my lancing device to draw a drop of blood. Touch that to the pipette end of the test strip. Bring up another drop because I take more than one number. 86, okay. I always take two numbers, often three, to make sure that the numbers agree with each other by no greater distance than 3 points on the number line. And that's a greater distance, 94 and 86. That is not within 3 points. Okay, let's see if this third number helps us to isolate down where I'm likely to be. 84. Okay, so 84. Now I can touch the logbook and see those three numbers. Whoops, flipped out here. Okay, back to the Dario. And back to the main screen, touch the logbook, and I got an 86, a 94, and an 84. I'm going to go with the 84, so I'm going to enter that into my data-driven fasting app. I'll bring that a little closer. Select, well, the screen's still open because I took a screenshot of that earlier to show you the different biometrics that are available to record. Let's close that. It doesn't want to close. Being persnickety. Well, I do want to measure blood glucose, but it looks like my app is stuck right now. Maybe it didn't like that I left it open so long. What happens if I hit track? I still can't. It's kind of locked up. Okay, let's close that. Let's close out the whole thing. All right, it went back to the main screen. So this is showing my personal hunger trigger of 80. And that was my waking glucose this morning of 90. I did enter my weight. It's showing me at 137 pounds, but I think I'm at 137.2. Let's look at the Renfro scale. That's a different kind of, this is a measurement of lean body skeletal muscle, lean body muscle. So wait a minute, no, 137.4. Okay, because yesterday's weight was 137.6. All right, I'm going on a lot of rabbit trails. Cut it out. Back to the dashboard on the data-driven fasting app and hit track and hit glucose and put in before meal. And I'm going to uncheck the will you eat because I'm not quite ready to sit down to a meal. And my glucose reading I'm entering as 84. And I'm entering rate my hunger, which it's not required to do that, but I'm going to put it in here for data as a 2. Number 1 is not hungry at all, but I have some slight hunger nudges. Hit record, and I get a message on the data-driven fasting app that my blood glucose is just above my trigger. Only eat if I'm really hungry, and if I do, I need to prioritize nutrients and higher protein percentage. I will close that message for now. And that daily lesson that's showing, can I fast when I'm stressed? That's still the lesson that was showing yesterday. So sometime today, the daily lesson will update and I'll have a new one to share with you before I close out today's video, day 25. Okay, that's that for right now. Just as I finished up testing, the air fryer beeped that the 20 minutes was up. So I'll pull this out and show you that I've got some nice kissed, singed tomato halves here. Now I'm ready to go ahead and stir that up a little bit and add the block of feta to it. So just take a couple spoons and stir it a little bit. And then I will make a space here kind of in the middle for the feta to go in. So I cut around the outside with the plastic and I can just plop that down in and chuck the plastic in the trash, rinse off my hands, and I think I will go ahead and sprinkle a little oregano on top. Now this will go back in to the air fryer, and now I'm not going to try to have such a high heat. I think I'll just turn it down a little bit. I'm setting the heat for what? Do I want 350 or 375? Well, I'll go for 375, but I'll set the time down for 10 minutes and then I can check on it and see what it looks like. There we go. You could eat this mixture with vegetable dip if you wanted to keep out the carbs. My husband loves these French rolls from Trader Joe's. I buy the organic French rolls. And so what I'm going to do is I will toast up some of these. So he'll have a couple of crusty rolls to have this with. And there's 6 in every package. I'm just going to toast up 3. I don't think I'll join him in having this, but I could, I don't know. I'm definitely not anti-carb or anti-bread. It's just, I'm not sure that I want to do that. I might choose to do something else with that tomato feta mixture. I don't know yet. I haven't thought through what I want to eat. This is what I have composed for my lunch today. I'm going to have lean sliced deli turkey, and there's probably 11 ounces there. I'll wrap those slices around the pickle halves, and those are fermented pickles, so I'm getting some good probiotics inside. I have a jar of celery. I will drink the celery water and eat the celery. I'll probably start with that based on the principles that I've learned from Jessie in Chauspay, otherwise known as the glucose goddess, and her content links are in the description box that I'm providing in this video. So I'll start with the celery sticks. I'll move on to the protein from the turkey wrapped around the fermented pickles, and I'm going to eat 5 Brazil nuts. That is for selenium, and I will put a link in the description box about an article on getting selenium. In the little tiny mason jar, you can't see the handle there, but that is a mini mason jar, and that is filled with passion fruit pulp. Our daughter in California grew passion fruit, and she shipped me some, and I put that in ice cube trays, and today I decided to thaw some of the ice cubes, and I'm going to drink that passion fruit pulp. I've mixed in some raw honey with it to sweeten it a little bit because it's very, very sour. And then I'm finally going to have the 2 varieties of grapes that were in my fridge that I was thinking about yesterday, that I didn't deny myself, I just delayed. Delay, don't deny. And so there's champagne grapes on the right, and on the left it's a hybrid of Thompson and Concord grapes together. I like Concord grapes, the tough, dark skin of Concord grapes, but that's the closest I could get was that hybrid blend that I saw in the grocery store this week. So there is my lunch. I'm just going to sit down for my feast. I almost forgot to tell you, I took my blood glucose because it's been an hour since I took it last time, and I got the 84. I am right at 80, which is my personal hunger trigger target. Boy, howdy, I feel like one very blessed girl. I get to eat a pint of butterscotch pecan ice cream. It's protein ice cream. It's low fat. I will link the information in the description box. It's the end of day 25 of my 30-day health challenge. It's 8:21 at night, and I am ending the day with a glucose of 99. I began the day with a waking fasting glucose of 90. I did reach my trigger, my personal hunger trigger of 80 before I broke my fast and I had my meal. And after I had my meal, I decided to make that protein ice cream of the butterscotch flavor. And I cooked up sort of a sugary, nutty mixture to go over the top, which was basically a mixture of allulose, some chopped pecans, and some water, heated in a skillet until I kind of made a syrup stuff, and the pecans were cooked in this syrup. And then I put it over the butterscotch ice cream, which was a protein-based mixture. I've linked the recipe for it in the description box, and also a video of a young woman by the name of Lindsay who made something similar, a protein ice cream, in her Ninja Creamy. So that dessert I made was sort of a last minute thought after I finished my meal, and I thought, I have some of that frozen mixture that's ready to be put in my creamy machine if I want to have an ice cream. So I decided to do that. It sounded good to me, and it was an enjoyable way to finish off the meal. So I finished eating all my eating by, I think, 2:30, 3 o'clock today. Now it is 8:30 and I'm ready to, well, it's 8:23. I'm ready to call it a day. End of day 25 of my 30-day health challenge. And I will start again tomorrow. I only have 5 more days to do these videos and finish out the challenge and see if in 5 more days I can lose 1 more pound to get down to 136, my 1984 wedding weight. And then I'll coast for a while, I think, until the next challenge. Data-driven fasting is, the group is doing another challenge. I believe it's August 23rd. And today is August, Today's August 8th. So I could just maintain for a couple of weeks and then start another 30-day health challenge if I want. Good night.